shooters down, hit you on the block. Ain't a janitor, but I hit you with a mop. Better watch your friends, they quick to turn the odds. And that bitch nigga will play you for a thought. Ain't no style watch, yeah.
Alright, you sneaky little snakes. Welcome to another video. This one will be pretty beneficial for most of the guys that watch this channel and pay attention to it. Today's video is on the best methods of recovery for action sports athletes and for slopestyle, freestyle skiers in general. Or snowboarders. We don't discriminate here. With that being said, let me take a little sip of the Bubba. A little sip of the Red Bull. Huge shout out for the support. And if you guys haven't already and you don't have one right now, grab one from the fridge, drink one while you watch this video. It'll help you get in the mood to learn. For those of you guys who don't know who I am, my name is Bruce Oldham. I'm a freestyle skier and kind of just all-around action sports athlete. I personally just like to send and train and compete. I'm very competitive, as some people know already, and I like to get every edge I can. Also, I have a lot of interests. So I do everything from skiing. Skiing is my main action sport that I participate in, but I do MMA, I skateboard, rollerblade, wakeboard, BMX, pretty much everything, you name it. I've definitely done it in terms of sports. And outside of sports too, I've done a lot of other stuff. So a little bit of background, but freestyle skiing and MMA is definitely the two heaviest disciplines that I participate in. And as you guys can imagine from all the stuff that I do, here's some videos of me slamming. My body gets pretty beat up. So recovery is something that I've really focused on in the last year and a half. And it's really just improved what I'm able to do and how much I'm able to train, especially because I like to train in so many different things. I need to recover and I need to be able to train as much as possible. Otherwise, I'm just not going to get in the hours needed. So first of all, the biggest thing I would suggest for any action sport for recovery is to make a routine. This is something, like I said, I personally started probably about a year ago. Yeah, I would say a year ago. I made a routine, a morning routine, a nightly routine. Sounds super lame, but very, very helpful. I would say your routine should be something that pushes you mentally, pushes you physically, helps you recover. I like to say a routine is something that you should do very, very consistently, but it's not something that you should feel that if you miss a night or you're unable to do it fully, that it's going to affect your performance. Don't ever let something like that affect your performance. No matter what you should be performing when it's time to perform. Routines are meant to be broken here and there. They should be done very consistently. That's why they're there. They're helpful. But if you don't brush your teeth one night every 2 weeks, it's not the end of the world. If you don't do your stretch recovery routine once a week, it's not the end of the world. You should try to, but it does take a toll mentally if you're doing the same routine morning and night, every single day of the month. So I personally do it Monday through Friday, my routine, and then weekends are for weekends. So I'm not somebody who just completely does nothing on the weekend and sits like a couch potato. I'm very active, but I give myself that break from that rigorous routine and just that morning and night schedule that can get a little wearing on the mind every once in a while. So before we dive into this, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. I have a lot of kind of personal experience and personal research on what I've done, listening to podcasts, listening to other experts in the field, people like Ben Greenfield, other things like that, and just taking knowledge from here and there and trying it, seeing what works for me, what doesn't work for me. But I personally have come up with a routine that I think works very well for myself. Might be a little too much for some of you guys, might not be enough for some of you guys, but just keep in mind that there are potentially different routines, better routines, depending on who you are, what sport you're in, and what your overall goals are. I'm going to keep updating these videos as I go along and I learn more. So maybe a year from now I'll come up with another video and I'll have maybe an updated routine or something that I've found helps more or something I would take out. But for right now, this is what I do for my morning and nightly routine. So morning routine, I wake up at 6 a.m., cold shower. Usually don't turn it hot at all, but I started off doing it 30 seconds cold at the end of my shower. Then I go and I do 10-minute meditation usually. I know, meditating, and a little lame for action sports athletes, but I found it helps a lot with my creativity, my visualization, and I'm a guy that just goes. So kind of just gives me that little break. It's like a forced break, so it's nice. After that, I go, and I've just recently added this. I've been doing breath work. So I use the XPT breathing app, and I just work on my breath work because a lot of us aren't breathing optimally. And breathing optimally is very, very important when it comes to sports. So I've recently included the breath work, and I've really been liking that. After that, I do about 10-15 minute yoga. I just go online. There's one 10-minute yoga routine that I like that I just do online every morning just to loosen up the limbs, get, feeling loose. I'll put the link down below so you guys can go look at it. But just search up like 10-minute morning yoga and something like that. It'll come up. You can do longer yoga routines if you want or something like that, but all I have time for is 10 minutes. Between the cold shower, the meditating, the breath work, and the yoga, takes me approximately 30 minutes, 35 minutes to get through everything. So I wake up 6 a.m. By the time I get in the shower, 6:10. So I'm usually done with my full morning routine by 6:45, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, I'm ready to take on my day. If you have time for something like that, I highly suggest it. My nighttime routine, I've been playing with it a little bit. I usually do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, just because I like to push myself. But I've recently been taking that out just because on top of going to the gym, training full-time for MMA and skiing, and then also doing work as well, it's just too much on my body. And then after that, I do 30 minutes of stretching. I will leave a link down below as well with my stretch routine, and you guys can see the stretches I do. I personally like to stretch a lot, and I think it's very, very beneficial, especially if you're warmed up. If you can do 30 minutes of nice stretching after your body's warmed up, it's very, very beneficial. After the stretching, I go and sit in an ice bath for 6 minutes. The 6-minute ice bath I find is just, I don't know how much it helps for inflammation. It's supposed to help for inflammation. For all you guys that don't know the research behind ice baths, here's some. But I personally like ice baths just because it really pushes you mentally to have to sit down and say, hey, I'm gonna go in this tub of ice. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna sit there for 6 minutes. I'm gonna get through it. And then after, you feel like an absolute beast. Changes your mood. You feel great. You feel like you've accomplished something. It's just a good feeling, and it does help with inflammation to some degree for sure. After that, I usually lather my body in some kind of CBD or A535 or Tiger Balm, and then I just doze off to bed. One of the biggest things about recovery too is sleep. Your sleep is super important for your recovery and for retaining all the stuff you learn throughout the day. So definitely do some research into sleeping. There's a really good book on sleeping by Matthew Walker. I'll put a picture of the book here so you guys can see what it looks like. I'm very sure it's called Why We Sleep. I'm like 3/4 of the way through it, and I've been implementing a lot of this stuff. I've noticed it's really helped just with how I feel when I wake up in the morning and stuff. And then, let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. What kind of stuff I use for my recovery. So like I said, I have my routine that I use to kind of get me in the mood for recovery and make sure the rest of the recovery and stretching happens. When I'm doing my morning routine, I have a yoga mat that I use. I'll leave the link down below for the yoga mat if you guys want to get the same one. It's pretty basic yoga mat. I just got off Amazon. Works great. You don't need a yoga mat if you want one. There's a good one there. It helps a little bit. Makes you feel kind of like a pimp to have a yoga mat. But that's all I usually use for my morning routine. Nightly routine, when I'm stretching. After I stretch, I always, look, it's right here. I always use a foam roller and roll out afterwards. I think it's really good for you to roll out afterwards. I find it helps a lot. I roll out my legs, down the sides, down the backs, shins, everything. This foam roller right here is, the names weren't off it, but just as the yoga mat, I will put it down below. If you guys want to get the same foam roller, it's got the little nubbies. Nubbies go into your back nicely and the other nooks and crannies in your body, and it works well. So foam roller after I stretch. For stretching, when I stretch, I have the stretch routine that I follow. I also stretch with bands. This is a big purple band. I don't know. This isn't the one I normally use. Nah, this is the one I normally use, the red one. I personally like to do a lot of stretches like this. Just wrap around your foot or something. Push on it. Get that nice feeling. If you got a girlfriend in the house, you just sure what's up. But this band, I think, is probably like $3, $4, maybe $5 tops. You probably get a whole kit of bands for working out and stretching and stuff. These ones are called Elite Athletics. I think you can probably get like 5 or 6 bands for like $20, so super cheap. And you'll use them outside stretching for working out and stuff too, resistance stuff. I also have one of these instead of a foam roller. They take traveling. Foam roller is really big, so you can roll out with these. Just roll it down your shins. If you're into Muay Thai or you want to fight against shin bang for skiing, grab a rolling pin instead of one of these, or get one of these with the spikes and just down your shins. Just sit there, toughen up your shins. But these are really good too. That's all the recovery stuff I have on me right now. But on top of that stuff, I have a Hypervolt. If you guys haven't seen what a Hypervolt is, you have not been scrolling through Instagram enough. It's one of those guns that goes duh-duh-duh-duh-duh, and it just like massages your legs and everything. There's knockoff ones. My sister has a Watney. It works really well too, actually. I believe Hypervolt is like the staple of them, but there's a bunch of other ones that work well. I highly suggest that too. It's really good for traveling and when you're away, just massaging everything out, getting everything loose for the next day. And also the spiked back mats that you lie on, so good. I personally don't have one, but I've been using friends lately. But you lie on it on your back like this, little plank mode, just plank on your back, lie there for like 10 minutes, and the spikes in it, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say acupuncture, but the spikes go into your back. And it's a little uncomfortable, not super uncomfortable, a little painful, not super painful. But when you lie on it for 10 minutes, it increases blood flow throughout your body or throughout the area that you're lying on it on. And really helps with inflammation and all that stuff. And I found, I woke up the next day, like back super sore that night, go to bed, do that, and then wake up and like just that, not stretching, just lie on the back mat. And I found that has really helped. And they're like $15-20, so not a big spend. There's definitely a better name for it than back mat with spikes, but you guys will see it in the link down below, so you can figure out what the actual name is when I edit this video. Like I said, when I was talking about my routine, I use CBD ointments. Just rub it on where you're sore and stuff. I find it helps a lot. Or A535, Tiger Balm, all that stuff. I just lather on my body. If you guys can get magnesium supplements, they help a lot. They really do help a lot with inflammation and just being sore. It gets rid of a lot of that soreness when you wake up in the morning. So between all those things that I listed off, my morning routine, my nightly routine, I wake up feeling pretty damn good. Also, there's obviously the fact that you have to eat healthy. Eating unhealthy is going to cause more inflammation and just feeling a lot stiffer and sore in the morning. And when it really comes down to it, there's only so much you can do to wake up feeling great the next day. If you go and take a huge slam skiing, you do a dub 10 to your side, and you wake up you do all this stuff, you wake up the next morning, I guarantee you're still not going to feel great. But you're going to be able to go out and go skiing that day instead of being stuck at home, lying on the couch going, my body hurts. But having these routines and using these tools or equipment to help recover is going to be the difference between getting out and putting training in the next day or taking the day off because you are not physically capable of it. I would say you have to keep in mind that there's always limits to how much you can do. I've heard this a few places now, but it takes true confidence to take a day off. If you guys seriously need a day off, take a day off. Like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, the more training you can do, the better. So if you're able to recover and rest and get your body in optimal shape outside of skiing, so you're ready to go and train and compete and ski or whatever sport you're in the next day, put the work in, that is huge. So I would suggest putting these morning and nightly routines in place and then dribbling little things like using foam rollers, bands, Hypervolts, and magnesium and ointments and stuff like that to help really just enhance how good you're going to feel the next day. With that being said, let me know what you guys use in the comments down below. Let me know if there's anything I'm missing, anything I should be trying. I've heard of this Right, I think it's called. They've always wanted to try, but I haven't balled out and bought one yet. Also, there's things like Mito Red Light, which is red light therapy, which very interesting to me, but I haven't done it. I've also done floating. Floating is really cool. I suggest that as well. But let me know what you guys think would be good, or what you guys use, anything I might have missed out, and I'll get back to it in another video. I love seeing your guys' comments and what you guys do and what you guys use, so definitely leave them down below. Before you guys head out, if you got any value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We do a lot of dumb stuff, and a lot of it's revolving around action sports, sending, having a good time with the friends. Also have an action sports podcast, so if you guys want to listen to that, it'll be in the YouTube channel called Banged Up with Bruce Oldham. And a lot of really good series out there. So definitely go take a look at the channel if you're new here, and definitely subscribe, because you know what? Gets me excited, gets me all horned up, and I can keep creating videos for you clam rams. So welcome to the channel if you're new here, and another big day in the podcast studio. Delivering the goods today. Oh, look at that back stretch.